produce, and you're like, what in the heck would I ever do with that? Like, this is kind of one of those. It was for me anyway until Christine.
And is it all grocery stores? Like you would see that?
So I got this one at Kroger, at our Harper's Point Kroger. So some Krogers will carry this stuff, but not all of them. And then I have seen it at Whole Foods. I've also bought it there. But I was in Whole Foods yesterday and they didn't have it. So it's one of those things that sometimes they get in. But I don't, I don't know how much of this is affected by season or.
So you probably can request it.
What is this called? I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't get to that part. So this is called daikon radishes. So it's D-A-I-K-O-N. It's on this little D-A-I-K-O-N. So here's kind of a cool tip though. So this radish is awesome for this dish that we're making.
Yeah.
But radishes in general, just as a kind of a quick little tip for you guys, whenever you're cooking anything that calls for potatoes, like you're making like a stew, like I love beef stew, Derek wants me to make beef stew, that type of thing, you can totally just grab your normal like red radishes, and I like to slice those in two, and you can throw those into a stew pot and make beef stew, and nobody will know that that is a radish. Wow. They will think that you have a potato in your stew. For real. Like, I've never had anybody guess. so I tell them because I can't keep it a secret.
We have some tough customers at home.
Yeah. So we have 5 kiddos ranging from 6 years old to 17 years old, and if I can fool them, you guys can do this.
Stellar. They're very skeptical though at home.
Yeah, they are skeptical.
So
they're always like, Mom, is that the real thing? I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, yes, it's real. Can you see that? Can you eat it? It is real. Like,
or like kids say, is this some healthy stuff?
So to start, Christine, if I'm doing anything wrong or you have any suggestions,
A lot of pressure here.
please tell me, because I am making her recipe. Yes, this is a lot of pressure. I'm starting to sweat. So I already told her I already do some things different because I think I started out doing it wrong and then I just continue to do it that way. So what you'll do is just peel this radish. That peels really super easy. And you can wash it first too, but this is going to go into a pot of boiling water, so I don't even mess with it. And this is organic.
We try to eat a lot better.
Is that a daikon?
It's daikon, yeah. So the purpose of boiling is to get rid of that radish taste. Because if you were just to put it in the baking dish and cook it like that,
tastes like a radish.
Taste the radish. You taste the boiling. It gets rid of that radish.
Funky monkiness, yeah.
Yes. And I will tell you, with radishes in a roast or something, I have never had those come out tasting like a radish either. So I think if you're cooking it like in a roast, it's going to get the juices from that meat. Or if you put it in a crock pot, or you put it in like a stew, it's cooking in like the bone broth or whatever your base of your stew is. So you'll get rid of that. Can you guys smell that?
I can smell the radish.
So when I was making, yeah, I did too.
It reminds me of low-fat diet, so no thank you.
So I was making the other 2 dishes over there last night, so I didn't have to make 3 of them in front of you guys. And my daughter came in and she goes, "Oh my gosh, what is the smell in this kitchen, Mom?" I was like, I don't even smell anything, but it was these. She was freaking out over the radishes. So anyway, you just peel these. And normally I would save this and go out and give it to my chickens and pigs, but they got tons of it this morning. So I'm just going to let this go for right now. Okay, and then I just cut off the tops. And then, I don't know if you do this, Christine, but I just don't bother with that. Yeah. Skinny little piece, I give it to my animals.
Exactly.
Feed them to the chickens.
Yep, they love it. Okay, so that's all I do, and then you just, I'm not the best slicer, but just slice these.
So you can use a mandolin for this too. That's what I normally do because it keeps the slices at they're consistent. Yes, yeah. So.
I bought you a fancy one.
Yeah, you did. I love
This
that.
tells you a lot about Jesse's personality that every single one's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A mandolin.
Yeah. So you can, you sit it on top of it.
Just make sure you get the cutter mandolin, not the instrument mandolin.
Don't go on Amazon.
What is this? How do I slice with this thing?
I got this.
No, I would be.
Yeah, my husband uses that when he makes that zucchini lasagna.
Yes, that's, yeah. Because that is impossible to slice. Yeah, tomorrow we're having zucchini for noodles, but not lasagna, it'll be the spiral. So anyway, so you just cut these up, and I just try to keep them not too big, but once you boil these, it's fine. It's not, they don't have to be super consistent in size.
Wow, there's a red one. Oh, wait.
Oh, I do. She's gotta go. I do cook a lot, and I don't cut myself anymore.
Good for you.
So we'll see.
Famous last words.
I know. I shouldn't even have said that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got a pot of just boiling water, and I'm just gonna dump these right in this water, and then we're just gonna let these boil for about 15 minutes or so.
Do you salt the water, Jess?
I'm sorry.
Do you salt the water?
You know what, you can. I do a lot of times when I make other things, but yeah, it didn't.
What kind of salt do you use, honey?
Okay, so my favorite, it's hard because I don't have everything I normally cook with here, because this is not the house I live in. So I'm like trying to find everything, but I love Redmond's real salt. So that's my favorite, is from Utah. It's mine's in Utah, and there's several reasons that it's better, but when you have the salts, like the salt that you're getting from the ocean, there's contaminants, and it also has the differing mineral contents depending on where they're actually mining that salt from. So Redmond's is real, where they mine that salt. It's very consistent, so you know that you're getting a consistent minerals from it, and you're not getting the contamination that can happen in the ocean.
Where do you buy that?
So you can get it at Kroger, actually. You can get it at Amazon.
R-E-D-M-O-N-D.
R-E-D-M-O-N-D. Yeah. Redmond real salt. And actually, I think I have a little one here because I travel with my salt. Which Julie was telling on me earlier.
Have salt will travel.
Yeah. So here's this is, so you can get this one that's just fine, and I put this into salt shakers. But you can also get, I like the big chunks, and then I have a grinder at home, and that's what I use. And then I have a little one of these, this is like a travel size one, and I take it with me everywhere. And Julie makes fun of me because we go out to dinner and stuff, and she'll be like, "There's Jessie pulling out her salt."
Yeah, but then she uses it.
So
now we'll both take it out.
I know. So I have, I travel with salt and I travel with oil. And so you guys are also going home with packets of MCT oil. My personal favorite brand is what I purchased to put home. And you guys have these awesome swag bags I'm going to give you tomorrow, and I can't wait to give everybody. But in that bag, one of the things is to-go oil packets. So when you go to like a restaurant and you get veggies or you get a salad or whatever, and you don't want to eat the salad dressing that they're serving with it because it's probably made with canola oil or soybean oil or some other terrible
Cottonseed, yeah.
Yeah, cottonseed. So you can use this oil packet to just put on your salad or whatever. Like we'll put it on veggies or steak that comes out, or whatever.
Well, because sometimes the butter they give you is not real butter.
Exactly.
So
so it's not like I do it every single time. I'm not like the crazy, like I need to pump as much fat into my body as possible, but I do use it to flavor things when I'm out at restaurants and don't want the alternative fats that they would be providing. So.
And like you say, you do the salt because you need more salt because your body won't hold this water.
Yeah, so you're not going to retain all the water that you do. So every glucose molecule holds like 3 grams of water or something like that. I think it's 3. So when you're not carrying around all that extra sugar all the time, and you're not pumping your body full of the carbohydrates, you're not going to retain all that water. So naturally you're going to deplete of electrolytes. And Robert probably could speak more to this stuff.
Especially if you're active at all. If you're sweating at all, you're really gonna, we do a lot of sodium and potassium and magnesium because they all play on each other.
Absolutely.
So could you add too much salt? So
the way learned it through nutritional therapy and all of that, and the way that I do it is you've had too much salt when it tastes like you have too much salt. That's it. Like if you want to pour however much salt you want to put on your food, your body will tell you when that's enough. Unless you guys have a different opinion.
But to your question, there is 5% of the population is what's called salt sensitive. So a lot of times doctors will say, cut your salt if you have high blood pressure, but not all of those are because of a salt sensitivity. So there's only a very small number of people who need to actually watch their salt. And to Jess's point, you'd have to really make it disgusting before it would be too much salt for most people.
What about
Because
salt
my
and
mom used to
iodine?
stay away from salt forever, and now
Because she has high blood pressure, but
Salt and iodine.
but the high blood pressure.
Well, that's not real salt.
Right, and the high blood pressure is brought on by the high carb
Yeah.
intake.
So Himalayan
and
salt's not
the
good?
metabolic
Himalayan sea salt's
dysregulation.
fine.
I don't know if everybody
But the ones with iodine
that's
are
important
usually
thing.
the sodium
Right,
chloride.
no,
High
I
blood
don't
pressure
do
is
that
brought
anymore, but I
on
was just
by
curious 'cause,
metabolic
like, my
dysregulation
family
from
still uses
having
that.
Yeah.
the high
But I
carb
did the Himalayan
diets
pink.
and all of that. It is
Perfect.
not because you have too much salt. Like, that's not a thing.
Well,
Yeah.
but if
Except,
it-
like Jimmy's saying.
If they
that's not
recommend,
okay.
what is it, 8 glasses of water a day, or is it, and like, so if you're doing keto, should
So
you
how
drink
big's the
more?
water? How big are
Should
you?
you
Like,
drink more than the
So
average?
Christine, how much water should she drink?
What I tell my clients is to take their body weight, divide by 2, and that's how much water they should drink in a day. And
Up
if
to,
you have- if, up to 128 ounces, like 1 gallon. Don't go over that because then you'll really start dumping.
and I have some clients here, so I want to know, what is the caveat to that?
unless,
Unless you drink coffee or wine.
Yes!
Just pass.
and
If you have any diuretics, so anything with caffeine or like wine, those are diuretics. And so then you need to have, and it's actually one, this is what I tell people, and I don't know if this is exactly what we were taught or not, but this is what I learned, is 1.5 times
Yes,
that.
yes.
So if you have 4 ounces of wine, then now you actually have to drink 8 to 10 more ounces of water. to
But
make
you
up for
still
that diuretic.
can't go over that.
Yes, but still not over.
because you deplete your electrolytes.
Yes. So.
Is this if you're ketogenic or is this in general?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
But especially when ketogenic, because when you first start, you're dumping all that glycogen, like she was talking about, the sugars stored in your muscles. So it dumps that. That's why when you first start keto, you go pee a lot. And you're dumping out that water. In that water is all the electrolytes, which is why you need to drink more water, eat more salt, get more potassium, get more magnesium. All of those things are important.
So we haven't even jumped into the education part. This is
You got a bunch of nerds in the room. We're going to talk. And salt. You can use it in your food. So like potassium, everybody thinks of a banana, but avocado has twice as much potassium as a banana. So eat an avocado. Without the carbohydrates, right.
Okay, so while I'm letting that boil, I'll keep going so we can eat something. So this is, see, I'm real fancy the way I cook, but so you grease the pan. So how I grease the pan is I always have just a block of Kerrygold butter.
Yep.
This is by far the best tasting butter. If you guys have not had this yet, it's amazing. It is so good. Yeah. And I like the salted. And even when they say use unsalted, I always use salted.
My husband
So-
said it is coffee.
Yeah, but that's the only time that I would do the unsalted. for
Now
that.
that's what I'd bring to a restaurant to put on top of my steak.
And that's brilliant because this tastes so good. But so this is how I grease a pan.
old school.
So that's it.
That's the way I do it.
Little butter, anybody?
You
So
better
my-
believe it.
My mother-in-law will like cut up a little pat of like the margarine or whatever, and then
Ew.
she like takes a napkin and just neatly like what are you doing? Are you kidding me?
Good thing she's not watching online.
Oh yeah.
She might be.
Oh, I love Jeannie. She knows that.
Hi, Jeannie.
She's not watching.
She might be. I'm gonna send her the video.
Call her. Okay, so that's that. We're gonna let that cook for a minute, and while that is cooking up, before we, let me tell you this part too. So, you can do this a real fancy way to melt this, but my fancy way is to pop it in the microwave. So I just put it in a bowl. This is cream cheese. And I'm just gonna soften it in here and get that a little bit soft because we will be putting that on top of this. So while we're working on that, I'm gonna get this rocking. Okay, so we are having beef or pork ribs, and these are like the country style ribs. So I just bought the pack of country ribs, is what they'll call them.
Boneless?
Boneless, yep, boneless country ribs. Usually they come like already kind of the right size, like a smaller size. But I actually cut these because they were bigger. I got these from Costco. So we're gonna put them in the Instant Pot, and before you put them in the Instant Pot, this is weird. I can't plug that in then.
You could, but yeah.
I was like,
We'll come back next year and it's still waiting on it.
Exactly. Like, we're just gonna eat tonight. Sorry guys. Okay. So for these, there's a dry rub, and you guys are gonna have this recipe too. It's in my little book that I'm giving you. But so I did a dry rub. So the dry rub is basically this, and it is ground black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, allspice, and ground coriander. So that's all in here, and you just do it according to, which I hope this turns out okay, because I've multiplied this recipe by, anytime I multiply a recipe, I'm like, shoot, did I actually do that one 3 times, or did I only do that twice?
We'll find out soon.
Yes, hopefully it's going to be okay. So you do all that. Okay, so you put that, I just put that in a bag, and I just kind of, mix that up in here so it kind of gets that rub all over the meat. And I usually like to do that a little bit early. I like the meat to sit and kind of get like room temperature. It just helps all the flavors to get in there and meld together a little bit better. So then you're going to do a sauce. So what I'm going to do is just dump these in there now that they've got that dry rub all over them. And then we're going to make a sauce. So the sauce calls for a reduced sugar ketchup, which I usually use like Guygon Keto, or there's one called Alterna.
I brought some alternative sweets if you want some.
Okay. I have some stuff that I'm just going to do here, but that's awesome. I love that stuff. If you guys haven't tried it yet, it's really good.
You want to slow down, Tyler?
So Alterna.
Alternative sweets.
What is it?
Alternative sweets.
Alterna sweets.
I'll bring the bottle in here.
Okay.
Hold that.
And
Marble
actually,
Kitchen's got a good one, too.
I should have brought mine from home. I forgot
It's
to bring
basically-
it.
This
Yeah.
episode sponsored by.
It's like a replacement for ketchup, right?
Yes. So it's sweetened with erythritol, isn't it? Or is it stevia? Do you know?
I think
Is
it's,
it- I
yeah, I
think-
think, yeah.
So,
What's the other one you just said?
Guygon.
Primal Kitchen.
Oh yeah, Primal Kitchen. Which that's all of the salad dressings we're gonna have tomorrow. It will be all Primal
Can you
Kitchen.
get all these at Kroger?
Yes. Not the alternative sweets yet. They're not
You can
selling
get the
that.
dressing there.
Or do you
either.
buy it?
Yeah. Yeah. You can get all of this on Amazon. Yeah. But the Primal Kitchen is at Kroger. They have, and Whole Foods has it as well. Whole Foods has a larger selection.
Ketchup?
The salad dressing.
Oh.
Primal, Primal Kitchen. So for this one tonight though, because I did not bring my ketchup, just to make this easier than waiting on me to mix all that up. This is the other thing about not working in my own kitchen. Here we go. So I love working in this kitchen. It's actually a lot easier to work in than mine, but I misplace everything. Okay, so for this one, since I didn't bring that, and I'm not putting the erythritol or sweetener in here, it also calls for that, which is fine. I typically do it that way. And it calls for red wine vinegar, which I do not normally use red wine vinegar. I use red wine, just red wine. But the reason I want to call that out to you guys is when you're doing something in an Instant Pot or a slow cooker, anytime that you are cooking any kind of meat, you want to use an acid. So that could be like your Bragg's apple cider vinegar. You could put a splash of that in there, or some red wine, something like that, because that is what's going to break down the protein in that meat and make it soft and fall apart and all that stuff. So
red meat?
It's any meat.
Is that in the recipe?
No, the red wine vinegar is in here, but like that note isn't in here.
Okay.
But oh yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jimmy. So here's the ketchup. This is what it looks like. You giving that out, Oprah?
I bought that. So no.
So this is only 1 gram of sugar in here, 1 sugar alcohol, It is, what is it, sweetened with? It is a
Stevia and erythritol.
Stevia and erythritol, yeah. So it's both. Okay. And it's good, Alterna. Okay. So for this one today, you guys are also all going home with this. This is my favorite barbecue sauce that I've had so far, and this is stevia sweet barbecue. So you guys all have this, but for this recipe, since I'm sending this home with you, twofold. Number one, my family likes to then, when we're done cooking the ribs, they like to dip their ribs in barbecue sauce, and this tastes so good. And then for this recipe, I'll just show you how to do it with just this. And I'm really, this is another reason I'm not great about showing people how to cook, because I don't measure a thing, ever. I just go, oh, that looks like a tablespoon. But I'm gonna try to measure it to make sure it turns out okay for you guys.
You'd make a great recipe cookbook author. Just throw however much in there you want.
Exactly what mine would say. It would be like just.
That's the way I cook too.
Just splash the stuff in. People would be like, what's a splash? I don't know. Just
Yeah.
figure it out.
A smidge.
Yeah. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so for the sauce, you're gonna mix everything together. And this is also, this is a liquid smoke. And this is really funny. I actually got this in one of my keto boxes. I never buy liquid smoke, and this came in one, like a monthly thing that I get. I forget which one it was.
Keto crate or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was either Keto Crate or one of the others.
Do you want to explain what that is, everybody?
So I actually don't know what is in this, to be honest.
Smoke in a bottle.
Never, but it's the hickory flavor. Water and natural hickory.
No, what the keto crates are. Like, if people don't know what this is.
I was like, this? I don't know what this is.
I don't know how to formulate that.
It's just like a hot sauce?
No, it just gives it a hickory.
It's smoky
smell.
flavor.
Yeah.
So you want that with your ribs. Let me make sure I'm not overdoing this for you guys. You'll be mad at me.
We'll find out soon.
I know, you will. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab some water.
Yes.
Derek, the keto crate. Okay, so what Derek was asking me about is, so I subscribe to this service called Keto Crate, and also, what's the other one I get, Derek? Keto Box. It is Keto Box. And they're a monthly service you can get, so they're really not, I mean, I think it's a good value for what you get. They'll send you all this awesome stuff, like I got this bottle of the smoke in there, and then I've gotten this before in there, and that's how I found out about Alterna Sweets ketchup, that they send you that kind of stuff in the box, and you get a box full of stuff. And then every month they send you a new one, and so you start learning about all these, and not everything that comes in them, you know, are the greatest things, but you know, just you can read everything and see what you think you want to try.
Do you tell them what you want, or they just send you?
It's a random,
Yeah.
they work with companies and then say, hey, just give us the product this month and then blah, blah, blah. So it's good advertising for them.
So I'm just putting some wine in here. I don't know how much wine.
It's
that
wine
was.
o'clock.
Yeah. And don't worry, anybody that's not partaking in wine, it cooks off. But you just want this acid in here. Like I said, you could also use apple cider vinegar would be also good. So then just put the lid on your little Instant Pot. So this is a 6-quart Instant Pot, and this is an 8-quart Instant Pot. So my family of 7, we generally use this one. So then you just hit manual, and normally it's about, I'm actually gonna turn this up a little bit because I don't know if that's enough. Hopefully that's gonna be enough time.
So how long does it take an Instant Pot?
So I'm gonna cook these about 40 minutes. So I hope nobody chews their arm off between now and then. But when I make this at home, I do this for like maybe a half an hour. But I'm also not making that much of it. So, but they cook really fast. And then, oops, I didn't set this one. You want to make sure this is on sealed. So just make sure it's sealed at the top. You have a seal function or a vent function, and you want to make sure it's sealed because it's gonna pressure cook fat. Okay, so back to the ground potatoes.
Is the vent function like a crock pot? Or is it like a steamer?
Yeah, like a steamer, and actually, I never use it as like this can function as a crock pot. I've never done it that way. Maybe you would, I don't know. there's like instructions on how to use it that way, and maybe you would vent it if you were using it like a car. I don't know.
I have a quick question on
Yeah.
erythritol, and I don't know if like everybody else knows this, but is there a certain brand that everyone likes or uses for that? And
For-
I have one, but
I know
For
that-
erythritol, is that what you asked? Swerve.
that's mine too. And actually, they are in the process. They had a little hiccup with their shipment, but they are also sending you guys all goodies for this weekend. See, so hopefully they get here on time. But I've been corresponding with the CEOs, which actually I know he just had on his podcast, but with her assistant who's trying to get all of that here. They have it all mixed up, but hopefully it'll be here before the end of the weekend, and you guys will get to go home with some, and then you can try it. But I like Swerve. I'll tell you another brand I really like is from Icon Foods, and it is called, and I actually think he's changing the name of everything he may already have. It's called Steviva.
Yeah, he's been out there a very long time.
And he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
I really like him. Had him on my podcast, I'm sure.
Just not Truvia.
Yeah.
That is not
Very
erythritol.
That's what
That
I
is not
said.
stevia. That is GMO erythritol.
Yeah.
Stay away, stay away, stay away. Truvia.
No, it's the one that's good.
No, not that.
Yeah, Truvia, that's a horrible one.
It's Steviva. She's asking what the good one is. Is Steviva?
Oh, Steviva's the good one.
Yeah.
Massive head.
Steviva.
And then it said, Truvia is so bad. And
It's
I'm like,
so bad.
I threw it
So
out.
it's GMO. So erythritol is derived from corn. So you need to make sure you are getting non-GMO products because you do not want that GMO corn.
Well, and they promote it as stevia based, but it's like incredibly high in erythritol.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't tell people it's stevia if it's mostly erythritol that's GMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, yeah.
So, but this
Buyer beware.
The Steviva brand, guys, is made by Tom and his company, the Icon Foods, and it is a actual blend of stevia and erythritol. And why I love to bake with that, and if I'm cooking with Swerve, I often will do this as well, is if you cook with two different sugar replacements like that, like an erythritol or a stevia, does anybody get like the aftertaste? You'll get like that cooling effect, and people are like, oh, I hate that, I can taste it. If you mix them, it takes that effect down.
Mix the stevia and what?
And like erythritol. So if you have like, I made you guys some
And the
cookie
stevia is
recipes and some
expensive.
stuff, and I used some liquid stevia in those recipes as well as some Swerve, and it cuts down significantly on that cooling effect. So you don't notice it as much, because that's usually when people know that something is, you know, the healthy version.
Kids high alert.
Yeah, the kids will be like, oh, I can taste the cool, this is not real sugar.
Not if it's organic erythritol. So the GMO ones are what we're talking about. So it'll say non-GMO. Yeah, it's a little bitter for me. That's the only bad thing about sweet leaf.
All right, so to put this in here, I don't know how Christine does this, but let me show
You're
you
doing it
my
exactly like she
fancy
does.
way that-
That's how she does it.
Just read the label and
So
see
the
exactly
first time
what's
I
in
tried
there.
to make this,
Scallop potatoes.
yeah, and the first time I tried to make this recipe, I was like placing each food.
Now-
it was really
Now
funny.
she's anal retentive enough to do it that way, yes.
But here's what I did. So I did all that, and then I'll show you guys the next step and why that was actually so funny. Because I was just like, I can't believe I just spent 15 minutes like arranging all of my radishes, and now I just destroyed them all around. Right?
How long did you cook the radishes?
15
About
minutes.
15 minutes.
And they don't get mushy?
So you're gonna put your
They don't get mushy?
cream cheese in the microwave and
because they're
do this, you know,
So you
get it
cook them mainly
real
to
good
get the
and creamy.
radish flavor
Now
up.
the recipe calls for 4 ounces of cream cheese divided, so I don't pay any attention to recipes as you guys are learning.
Yeah!
I take 8 ounces because I really like cream cheese, and I don't divide it, I just mix it up in here, and then I will divide it as I will use half of it, but you know, I'm not real fancy with my stuff. So here's what you do, you just splash it on.
This is in the book y'all are all getting anyway.
It's in the book, you guys will go home with this. So here's what I do. And this is why it's so funny that I layered all of them, and then I started moving them all around, all the cream cheese. I was like, oh, how am I supposed to keep these? I almost called Christine. Christine, tell me how to do that. How do you do this?
Yeah, it's that whack lady on the phone again, honey.
Jessica something, I don't know.
Want me to tell her to go away?
Like, don't answer the
She'll
phone.
just keep calling.
Okay, and then in some
Like a little puppy.
In some manner, I usually do this the opposite way, but you're just gonna sprinkle some salt and pepper. Again, this is precisely quarter teaspoon of salt and pepper, as you can see how I measured that out
I
precisely.
would have to measure because I
And then I am gonna use this Parmesan because I actually, when I make this, and the other two that I already made, they actually have shredded Parmesan in them. I like to use that a little bit better, but we're just going to use this one because I forgot to bring the other shredded.
You could put a touch of garlic salt in there as well. Give it a little bit of a different flavor.
I didn't bring that either, but I put in a spice rack here for the cabin, and I realized that it doesn't have really good spices. I'm like, I don't cook with any of these. What's this? That was Rachel. Oh, yeah, it's pretty, right? Okay, so then again, this is precisely a cup of Parmesan cheese. Which
Precisely.
precisely.
You're not even close to a cup yet. That was barely a quarter cup.
And as soon as they throw cheese on it, everybody.
So
Let's try that again. Do the cheese.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ready?
Oh! More.
I also have made this using mozzarella cheese. but I've made it
Mozzarella.
using all kinds of different.
Asiago is also good.
Ooh, that sounds good. Okay, and then cheddar.
Woo! I'm working.
Yeah, put the whole bag in there.
Yeah. And then you just put the rest of these on. And this is actually a little bit of a big container for what this was, but it's going to be good. Okay. And then
More cheese.
more cheese. So I know a lot of times, I think this is kind of funny that I chose this recipe to make because a lot of the questions that you get when you're keto or you're eating keto stuff is you tell somebody that and they say, oh, what do you eat? Like bacon, butter, and cheese? And you're like, no, there's so much more. And then I'm making you guys this. This is keto.
Wait, is there bacon in that?
Chelsea, where'd you
There
get,
will be.
Chelsea, where'd you get your big Parmesan? Is that Costco?
It's Costco.
Yeah,
It's,
that's what I
they're
figured.
organic.
I'm like, it's a jug.
So I try to buy organic as much as possible, guys. I really, really do think it makes a big difference. There's a lot of reasons that you want to do that, but I get it if, you know, budgets don't allow and you just do the best you can. But if you can get organic, I think it's really, really super important. So I tried to make sure I was getting that for you guys this weekend. All right. So that's pretty much it. And then more Parmesan.
What was the name of the long radish again?
Yeah, I was
Daikon. D-A-I-K-O-N. Yeah.
You will find that.
You can find it at most grocery stores.
That's why I like it. How could it not be good? How could it not be good?
I know, right?
That's why we
had me cheese.
What he said.
Because it's pure accident. Someone had used daikon in a recipe.
Oh yeah, I did say it.
I said, well,
Or
if she's
salt and pepper.
using it in that recipe, I'm gonna try it in this recipe, and it worked like a charm. I didn't boil the first time I made it. I didn't.
Oh, it was gross.
Okay, guys, let me just.
Like, don't make that again.
So how did you realize to boil it?
That's
To get the
it.
taste
She started doing
Well,
research.
someone actually told me,
Yeah.
Do you have to take
and I was like, oh, I never would have thought about
Does
it.
everybody like bacon?
Oh, I love
Is everybody okay?
Bacon!
You should probably ask the
If you don't, you should leave now.
Crazy. If you don't like bacon, please exit.
That's more bacon for us.
I do like to ask. I don't want to. If somebody doesn't, then we can leave it off. There is my bacon. There, did you get my bacon?
serious.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Here it is. So this is kind of a fun little thing, guys. So usually I would make bacon and then crumble it on, but real life is that sometimes you're just too busy and you don't want to make it. So I found these at Whole Foods. So this is Epic brand. I love their bars and stuff. So this is And they make the most amazing pork rinds ever. Uncured bacon bits.
And it's pastured pork too. It's good quality.
Very good quality. So we've got another bag of these for salads tomorrow if anybody wants them for lunch. But I thought, hey, let's just put a little bit of
I'm
this
gonna
on our.
celebrate that. Woo, bacon.
No, you're fine. I might need to move, like my little comments.
I forgot.
Kiss the cook. Is that what it says?
Valentine's. This is Kiss the Cook.
Okay, enough of that. Get a room.
We don't need a room. We have a whole house. That's all. Y'all.
Fair enough.
Here comes the six baby.
Hey, when she says kiss the cook, I understand the language.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't miss an opportunity, brother.
Right.
All right. So.
You'd be judging me if I didn't do
Oh,
that.
you know what? I just forgot. Shoot, guys, I'm sorry. See, Christine, I told you I do this. I forgot another ingredient. This is why you should be measuring everything out and following a recipe.
So do as you say, not
Do as I say, not as I do.
This makes for compelling IGTV though,
Oh my
so thank you.
gosh, That's awesome. I've never been on Instagram TV because you know how awesome I
You're
am.
on there now. Say hello, everybody.
Social media gurus, and I am so not.
I'm going on.
You invited me. You knew I do Instagram.
Okay, so heavy whipping cream.
Yes.
And I love this brand. I don't know if you guys like other ones, but this is
It's a
the
good one.
Organic Valley. This is a good one. You can get this at Whole Foods, Fresh Time for those of you that are local. It's right there. And then Horizon is another brand that you can get, and that is sold at pretty much everywhere now. Horizon is, but I like the Organic Valley a little bit better. And this is precisely a cup of heavy whipping cream, which that was not. So.
Not even close.
Need to measure.
Maybe an eighth of a cup that was.
I precisely measured the ones I made last night too.
Yes.
So we'll see.
It's going to be most of that.
So much of that stuff. He puts that in his coffee too. His
But see,
coffee
I
is like
made-
totally bulletproof. Like it makes like I bought that before.
The good news is I made this once without the cream and it was still really good. So.
It tastes really good with the cream in there though.
Okay, so you let this cook. That's all for that. That's super.
Smells good in here.
Yeah, it's gonna start smelling really good when these Instant Pots start. You'll start getting that smell. Okay,
Is that why you vent it for the smell?
no,
I
those
see
are
that.
actually sealed.
Oh, they are?
Yes, you want to seal that.
He's saying hello.
So, but you'll still smell it everywhere.
Is Crystal going to come on?
I bought them on Amazon. Like I got my 8-quart one on Amazon, and I don't know where I got it. Oh, the 6-quart I got it at Kohl's. They had some big sale like a year ago or something, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Everybody's talking about Instant Pot. I'll go get one, and I love it. Love it. It's probably my very favorite thing in my kitchen. That and my new air fryer. Oh my gosh.
Air fryer.
The air fryer is killer. Love that thing.
See, and my mom gave that to you for Christmas.
I know, that was amazing. And not because I don't cook with fat, obviously. It's not that. It's just it cooks so quick and fast, and you can make
Oh, I'm
things
getting
that
a
are
side steak.
like I make goat cheese balls in there. They're like my favorite thing in the whole world to make. But it's goat cheese, and you roll it in egg. And roll it in egg, and then roll it in pork rinds, or you could roll it in Parmesan cheese, and you put those in the air fryer. Oh my gosh, you guys, that is so amazing. That is going to be a cooking class. I'm going to do an air fryer class. Okay.
The kids love their chicken nuggets.
So the other thing that I'm making for all of us is I'm gonna do sautéed veggies, but I'm gonna do those in a few minutes. All right.
You can have just like you have crackers in there.
Yeah, I know that. The air fryer. Meat in there, or whatever else. In the air fryer. It's like, oh, it smells great. We have a little one, we have a big one. And my kids get an Instant Pot. Never mind, just kidding. They're always beefy things. Okay, so how many of you have thought about the whole keto, low carb thing and been scared to death to walk away from bread and potatoes? That's like a lot of people's objection. So I'm making you guys potatoes because I want you to see how you don't have to have potatoes. Like you really don't. They're like pretty much void of any nutrition and you don't have to have them. Like these radishes, they're so good for your digestion. They're so nutrient dense. And it's so good to get a good variety of all this produce that, I mean, like who just goes and buys daikon radishes and like salts them up and eats them? So this is a great way to use those. So when my kids say, is this the real thing? I'm like, no, this is the right thing.
This is the better thing, yeah.
Yes.
Scripts. We gotta have scripts.
Yes. He's a script guy over there. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show you guys how to do is a bread. I'm going to show you two different breads, one tonight, one tomorrow. This is a grain-free, it's called fat bread. Did anybody see what was the name of that? I just lost
Magic
it.
pill.
Thank you, Magic Pill. Thanks, Molly. So if you watch the Magic Pill.
Pulled that one out of the air.
Yeah,
It was on
they
Netflix?
talk,
Yeah.
yes, on
It was,
Netflix. I highly recommend you guys watch that.
Watch it with your kids too.
Yeah, it's good with your kids. The author of this recipe was on that show. And anyway, so I looked up her recipe and found it and started making it. So you guys are also going to have this recipe to go home with. The coolest thing about this is there's no flours. You're not using a nut flour, coconut flour, anything like that. It's really awesome, and you're going to, I think you'll be blown away by the taste. So I already pre-prepared the macadamia nuts. So it's made with macadamias, and I used a different bag, but I always get the dry roasted that are no oils. Because if they're roasted in oil, it's going to be soybean or something like that. These are literally just macadamias and sea salt. That's it. So this is from, this is Kirkland, so that's Costco. The other bag that I had that I used these for, it's down somewhere, is organic ones from Kroger. It's the Kroger's private selection brand or whatever.
I think Whole Foods just switched all of theirs over to one that has canola. So be careful when you shop at Whole Foods.
Yes.
It's not all good.
You're right, and you really have to be careful wherever you shop because a lot of these places, like you see this and you're like, oh, macadamia nuts with sea salt, awesome, that's perfect. And then you read the back and you're like, macadamia nuts, soybean oil, or whatever. You don't want that stuff, okay? So this recipe calls for 1 cup of whole macadamia nuts, but what I'm gonna do is 2 cups because I'm doubling this recipe, which I think I've done in here before.
Good luck.
You know what? What I'm going to do is
We'll find out.
I'm going to do it twice so that I don't mess this up because this is too good to mess up. So you're just going to take a food processor and you just throw your macadamia nuts in there. Let me make sure I'm following this because I'm
This is the one you
so
really need to follow.
bad about just doing things. Okay.
You're getting better.
And Jimmy was so kind to bring us eggs from his farm that we are going to use.
There's purified water here.
Okay, so you're just going to turn that on. And it says that you want to achieve part butter, part chunky nut meal. Everything's too long. So basically the nut is what's going to replace the flour. Yeah. So it's like if you were we're kind of making a nut flour out of macadamia nuts, basically. So it's gonna look about like that is how I do it. So, you know, and macadamia nuts are so full of awesome fat that you can see like how like buttery looking that is.
I wonder if you could do that with peely nuts.
Oh, I bet you
I bet that would be amazing.
So it kind of gives you
Assuming those are good, I've heard of those.
yeah, they are.
Very good.
They are.
Very
They're fattier than macadamia.
Even fattier than macadamia, yeah.
Very buttery.
Peely, P-I-L-I.
Okay. Oh, see?
You can't find them in stores, so yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to find in stores. EatPeelynuts.com.
Okay, so while this is blending, you're going to take eggs and just drop them down there.
Look at them beautiful eggs. Gorgeous.
These beautiful eggs, courtesy of the Moore household, and the 26 chickens in his
The more
backyard.
children.
Yes, the
Yes.
Moore children. That's 2.
And they poop all over the place, so. Yeah, it changed. Yeah,
It changes
splattering now. Splattering high.
Okay, last one. So it tells you how to do this on here, but basically you just need to wait till the egg gets really done mixed in the first couple, and then you want to, when it starts getting that really that little wet, you just want to let it blend really good before you put the other one in. I think it has it's not my recipe, but if I had to guess, it's so it doesn't get too whippy with the eggs, but yet you want it to have some, like you want some air to get in there, so you don't want to put them all in at once and like smother the macadamias. But I'm definitely not a professional cook, so I don't know.
No, you just play one on IG.
Yes. Okay, and then
We still have
start
18
doing this
people
right.
watching you. That's pretty amazing.
My mom's,
Oh my
Just
gosh.
asked if I was coming home with the recipes.
Oh.
say, yeah,
Spatula. Do I have a spatula here?
You gotta have one
So
pan at least.
question, how do you get the vegan from keto?
We'll talk about cholesterol tomorrow because it's not important.
Okay, so what you want to do
We'll bring that up
is
if I have something about it
make
tomorrow,
sure that
bring
you
it
don't
up.
have
Okay.
anything stuck basically to the sides of this. And then you're going to add the coconut butter, I believe. Yes, then you're going to add the coconut butter. So
No pressure, it's only like 3
Pre-softened.
Is this
I
coconut
know.
oil or
no,
coconut?
so this is coconut butter. So this is coconut manna, which is the meat of it. So what I did was I softened it so it's easier to use.
Yeah, it's hard if you don't.
But I was going to try to get some of this down in here. This is what it looks like when it's not softened. See that? So that's like the inside of it there. I think I've got enough.
What is it? Is it say on the label? coconut
Yes,
butter?
it says coconut manna. Coconut butter or coconut manna is what they.
Be careful, it is delicious.
Eat 'em.
People make that
Yeah.
with chocolate.
I've seen that at my house.
so good.
Where'd you
Yeah.
find that, Chelsea?
This one I got at Fresh Time, but they sell this at Whole Foods and Fresh Time. Kroger does not currently carry this.
And Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah, I know.
no kidding.
I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon because I don't have time to
This one.
drive. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he needs some money now because he's getting divorced. We gotta support him.
Yeah, right, it's split, what, $169 billion? I feel so sorry for
It
him.
does have like a naturally kind of sweet, it has a little bit of oil, like you can kind of see it with the
Talk about
flavor.
someone eligible back.
And it's very on the bottom, so if you mix it in, it is like eating in,
Cause it
I think it's like eating a nut butter.
Okay.
Like you can,
I think so.
literally eat it by like.
Kind of tastes like a mounds. It's got a little bit of the mounds consistency to it.
It's great for fat bombs too.
Yeah, and I make a ketogenic
Split it in half, you're
cookie,
still
like cake pop,
multi-billionaires, both.
and it is coated in this.
Oh.
It's so good.
Oh, that's on the
Yeah.
list.
And you guys actually will have that recipe is in the book I'm giving you
What is
too.
it, Chelsea?
It's I came up with a cake pop recipe, a keto cake pop, and it is coated with coconut butter. It's so good because it makes like a coating like they do on those cake pops, like that glaze.
I just
So that's
don't
another
understand
thing
why
you can
don't
make
get
a
fat.
glaze.
I just can't understand it.
You don't eat the carbs. That's the difference.
But that doesn't.
Isn't that awesome though? You can eat all this amazing food and you don't like.
I just struggle with it. I'm like, I was raised that fat makes you fat.
Right,
you
we
know?
all
So
were.
It's like your whole
We all
brain
were.
is going, what?
Yeah.
You're gonna learn new paradigms this weekend.
Sorry guys, I'm moving slow on this because I literally just always throw things in and I want to make sure I'm showing you guys the right way. Okay, and then a little bit of sea salt on here. It says a teaspoon. Is that what they're asking for? Oh, a teaspoon? Yeah.
Here comes the teaspoon.
Jimmy. All right.
This is compelling IGTV for sure.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
The right one.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
why is it? I feel like it still
does it sometimes. Mine does, but I don't.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
ceiling, but yeah, it is still.
The other ones are at.
It's giving us a nice whiff. Is this nice?
It was empty so.
Yeah, they were both closed.
Anyways.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It like just wanted me to go over there and try it, and it's like, I'm done.
It probably does that so it doesn't explode.
Right.
I have
Takes the
that.
pressure off.
Okay, so there's salt, and I measured that one. And then, make sure I do this right. And then I'm gonna do, yep, okay. I'm gonna make sure I put the baking soda now.
Somebody says you have a pretty kitchen.
But I have, thank
Pretty
you.
kitchen.
I designed this kitchen. And I painted, I finished all of the cabinets myself. Very proud of them. Let's see. And then, lemon juice and then the baking soda. I'm gonna do this in the right order.
Did you tell me it's in a paper towel commercial?
Oh yeah, they actually Bounty paper towels, P&G, they filmed their commercial here in the city.
Oh, really?
They saw her ad, like,
Yeah.
they found it on social
And so
media.
they brought it in and they filmed it right here.
Nice.
Right where you guys are sitting.
This is perfect because you can stick a camera right there and that'd be a perfect little
Yeah,
TV show.
it was pretty cool. Okay, what? No, these are, Derek, what are these? These are like poplar or something?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hickory?
Okay.
Hickory, yeah. Which it
But it was
pains
just
me
like
actually to paint over them, but we had to.
You can see what they used.
Needed to be broken up.
They were actually pretty.
Yeah.
They just,
It just is a lot of work.
we redid the whole kitchen and the whole layout of everything, so when we did that,
Plus they-
we couldn't match the cabinets. So we had custom cabinets built, but when we did that, they couldn't match the wood.
Right.
So I was like, that's okay, cause I want like a country kitchen.
Plus it was like
and
so much wood. Like
Yeah, it was a
wood
lot
up
of
here,
wood.
the
It was
wood
wood
down
on wood
there.
on wood on wood. Like
Yeah.
everything.
Yep, that's very true. That's the designer and Julie coming
Yeah.
out.
There's like 7 different shades of wood.
What's that, Justin?
Okay, and then you're gonna put in lemon juice, guys. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Is that a tablespoon? That's a half a tablespoon. Glad I read that.
Doesn't look like it's
Yeah,
that is strange.
I know, I was like, that looks a little small.
Man, this bread tastes lemony.
Zesty.
Zesty.
I can clean my teeth.
Yeah, you will taste it.
We won't have digestive issues at all.
And
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
do you guys like the way I'm such a fancy cook here?
You cook just like me.
Reality.
Me too.
Throw, except I'd have a whole lot more dirty dishes than you
I
do.
watch all the cooks like on TV and stuff. Like, what's the girl's name? Rachel Ray. I used to watch her all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to cook like that. Or like these people. I'm like, I'll never. I just can't
Well,
do it.
the secret to all that is good sous chefs.
That's
Someone that comes in and prepares all your little things, and all you gotta do is dump them.
Right.
That's the key. I can cook like that easy. It's like everything's already measured out for you in the little silver bowls.
Sorry guys, I got a little too with that. Okay, and then you just gonna mix this in real quickly. And with any luck, this will be finished when dinner is.
Does anybody smell that now with the coming out of the oven?
It smells like potatoes.
Probably smell a lot.
I mean, it really
It really does. Like honestly, if she didn't tell you those weren't potatoes, I promise you.
Well, what's funny, potatoes have no flavor. So it's like what you put on the potatoes that you always smell and have memories of, and yet we think it's the potatoes. It's the same thing with macaroni and cheese. You don't like macaroni, you like the cheese and the other stuff on
I
it.
call it cheese delivery vehicle.
Exactly. Which is now just called my hand.
Bypass the middleman. Let's go straight to the
Alright, and then you just literally pour this. Look how thick this came out, guys. You see that? And you saw when I was mixing it, like how liquidy it was, and it gets really
Can you do the
thick.
slow-mo video
I don't have a spatula here, which I'm really disappointed. So I'm gonna have to do the best I can.
Use your fingers.
Yeah. Here, I'll just.
How long would you want?
Oh gosh,
You guys will still eat it, right?
it wouldn't take long, but
They'll be like, that's so good. I don't care.
So good.
we usually like to do like.
Doesn't it look like cake batter?
I
And this is so dense that you're gonna wanna have a hard time eating a slice. Like it's that dense. But think about like macadamia nuts. Like you wouldn't sit here and eat that thing of macadamia nuts.
Want to bet? Want to bet?
Okay.
You shouldn't eat that, yeah.
Usually I'll eat like a handful of them, you know, and that's about what you're going to be able to eat here. Because they're this thing, it's all that macadamia nuts and the eggs and everything. So that's all you do, and you just plop this in the oven for 35 minutes. And you'll see when it comes out, it's going to be golden brown. It's going to look like bread, and it'll slice like bread. And then we will put butter on that bread. It'll be amazing. All right, so I need to make room. Guys, look at these potatoes already. All right, so that is all the instruction I have for you guys. I am going to whip up another bread and put another bread in there. But that's all. So you guys can visit a little bit. I'm going to clean up this mess. And then when things get done cooking here in a little bit, it's going to be a late dinner. Sorry. So we can just spend some time kind of talking and getting to know each other. Do you want to leave that, Molly? Sure. Just kind of, maybe if we could just go around and have everybody.
Say bye to everybody.
Bye. Thanks for watching.